Check, 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 check. Can you guys hear me? Check, 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 check. Can you guys check, check, check? All right. Looks like I finally figured this thing out. All right, how is everybody doing? Check, 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 check. Can you guys check, check, check? All right. Looks like I finally figured this thing out. All right, let me turn the volume down on this one. I had to... All right, here we go. So, good afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Chris Howard here. It's 4 o'clock. We got some weather. We got some weather starting to break out here. Isolated thunderstorms. The only one that is severe. This is the only game in town right now, and it just so happens to be over the heavily populated I-95 corridor. It's right over Philadelphia County there. And it looks like, well, it looks like it's a pretty good sell. All right, we got a flash flood warning up. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning up, and it's right over most of Philadelphia County, okay? So right now some of the rainfall rates are really impressive. We're also seeing potentially winds up to 60 miles per hour in this, and of course the timing is terrible because it just so happens to be the evening commute. So let's go back over to the radar. Notice we got a couple other thunderstorms out there too, all right? But those aren't quite as heavy. The main event is right over like Manayunk right now at this point, pushing into the western part of Philadelphia. And that's going to be dropping to the southeast as I look toward the west here. I'm in New Jersey, and I can already see the sky turning just pitch black. So, you know, it's a pretty good storm. Nothing out of the I mean, listen, compared to what we've had over the last 3 weeks, this is nothing out of the nothing out of the ordinary, nothing crazy. But there could be some winds up to 60 miles per hour in some of this, and we're also seeing a little bit of flash flooding. At least that's what the National Weather Service is suggesting. So let's do this. All right, let me go into the actual warning. First, let's go into the flash flood warning. Let's see what they're saying in that. So with the flash flood warning, they're saying it's for northern Delaware County, in southeastern Pennsylvania, as well as Philadelphia County. It's up until 8 o'clock. 3:58 Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. 1 to 2 inches of rain has already fallen. The expected rainfall rate is between 1 to 2 inches an hour. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Some of the areas that are going to be impacted here include the following highways: the Blue Route in Pennsylvania between mile markers 14 and 19, the Schuylkill between mile markers 330 and 351, 95 between mile markers 16 and 33, and Interstate 676 in Pennsylvania between mile markers 0 and 1, Pennsylvania Turnpike mile markers 333 and 346. Some of the towns here: Philadelphia, Camden, Conshohocken, Hatboro, Ambler, Jenkintown, Narberth, East Lansdowne, Rockledge, Abington, and Bryn Athyn. All right, just, you know, one of the things with flash flood warnings, really the biggest thing to remember here is turn around, don't drown. You know, we've said this before, and especially when I was in Florida, because you get these, you know, it's very swampy down there to begin with, and you would get these roads where you kind of had like ditches on either side. I guess they were drainage ditches, and they would fill up quickly, and then the road would fill up quickly, and then, you know, you'd see barricades put up and things like that. We're not in a situation like that, but you know, if you do come across a road that's flooded, or if you come across a flooded road and there's a barricade up, just turn around, all right? Why even take the chance? Up into this part of the country, there's a million other ways to get to where you have to go. So just turn around, avoid the flooded road, and maybe it takes 15, 20 minutes longer to get home, but at least you get home safely. All right, so here's the severe thunderstorm warning. This was also issued by the National Weather Service, and this was issued 3 minutes earlier at 3:55 p.m. The storm at that point was located over Chestnut Hill, or 7 miles northwest of Philadelphia, and it's moving northeasterly at about 10 miles per hour. So that's one of the problems with this thing. It's moving very, very slowly. There's not much of a steering current aloft, so it's just kind of drifting. 10 miles per hour is just not going to get it done when you've got rainfall rates between 1 and 2 inches an hour. Now, the hazard is for winds up to 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail, okay? So they're suggesting minor damage to vehicles, wind damage to roofs, sidings, trees, and power lines also possible. And some of the locations impacted here: Philadelphia, East Norton, Conshohocken, Ambler, Jenkintown, Rockledge, Plymouth Meeting, Germantown, Chestnut Hill, Roxborough, West Conshohocken, Fort Washington, Bluebell, Flowertown, Glenside, Springhouse, Orland, Windmore, Wincott, and Maple Glen. All right, so that takes care of it. That pretty much takes care of the areas being impacted here under the severe thunderstorm warning, as well as the flash flood warning. I'm going to zoom in a little bit tighter and flip it over to velocity mode. And there's really no rotation here. It doesn't appear as if it's that kind of a storm. All right, we're just looking at what appears to be straight line winds. There it is right there. All right, doesn't look like, if there is rotation, I don't see much. It would be very, very, very broad. Okay, that's the velocity mode right there. This is the reflectivity mode. All this shows you is how intense the precipitation is coming down. The velocity mode, which is right here, right here, is how we track whether or not there's any kind of rotation, any kind of spin in the atmosphere. And the way that we do that is red on top of green. All right, they got to be tight though. For example, I know you see this right here. Let me stop it. I know you see this, all right? But that's not tight. Tight has got to be this really bright, right up on this really bright red, right on top of the really bright green, and we just don't have that. All right, so this is just a, right now, it's just a thunderstorm that's pushing through. Now let's go a little bit wider out here and see what else is going on. I will say this, we're getting, where I am here in New Jersey, we're getting a really nice cooling, it feels like an outflow boundary from the thunderstorm, because all of a sudden it feels a lot nicer out here. Got a couple other storms too, all right, and you can see them popping. One in the Lehigh Valley. We have a severe thunderstorm warning up for the Poconos out towards Stroudsburg. This is Monroe County. All right, that too has potentially winds up to 60. We also have this severe, well, it's not severe, but we have a pretty good thunderstorm popping now near Allentown. We'll have to watch this one, all right? But right now, most of these are really just producing big rain totals, all right? They're big rain producers. Tabernacle just south, you got a thunderstorm and some lightning strikes. All right. That's really it. There's also another severe, you know what, let's go down to Sussex County in Delaware. This one is warned too. Let's go over to the velocity mode here. Let's see what this one is saying. The storm which prompted the warning has weakened below severe limits and no longer poses an immediate threat to life and or property. All right, so this is, you're going to see this disappear, this polygon, shortly. All right, that storm is weakening dramatically. All right, otherwise, throughout this whole area, we have this mesoscale discussion that was issued by the Storm Prediction Center. They were never toying with the idea of issuing a watch, but they'll give the watch probability underneath here, and you can see there's only a 5% chance that a watch is going to be issued. All right, so remember, when they put the outlooks out today, here it is. All right, the outlook was for isolated. That's what that is. That dark shade of green, that's a level 1. All right, now tomorrow, this is tomorrow. Tomorrow is when things are going to get active. All right, tomorrow there's a flash flood threat. Tomorrow you have a strong wind, potentially damaging wind threat. You also have a tornado threat. So I'll get into that here in a second. Here's today. All right, today throughout the entire Philadelphia area. It's New York City to Scranton, Allentown to Philadelphia, down to Salisbury, Maryland, west to Harrisburg, Baltimore, and D.C. This is all level 1. All right, level 1 out of 5. And that means isolated. Okay, just an isolated shower or thunderstorm possible. Clearly you can see that's what we're talking about here. You see how isolated this stuff is? You can see the large part of the area that doesn't have anything going on. See, that's all just kind of nothing. So these are very isolated thunderstorms, and only a handful, 1 or 2, are even severe. Remember, this one down here, all right, if you look towards the bottom of your screen there, that one has already dropped below severe criteria, so that's no longer severe. They just haven't removed the polygon yet. And this one up here to the north in the Poconos doesn't appear to be all that devastating either. I mean, they do have a warning with it, but I didn't see much there. This one here was decent, though, right over Philadelphia County. You had some pretty good returns on that one. And, of course, that's over one of the heaviest populated areas, right? All right, let's go back over to the outlooks. So that's today. All right, here's a look at tomorrow. So they took that level 2, And what's interesting here is they actually, I'm wondering why I'm only showing that. That should be a little bit higher. I'm wondering, this morning they had it all the way up here. Let me just make sure that they didn't. All right, I'm going to go over to the SPC site real quick. Nope, it looks like they dropped it back down. This morning they had the level 2 right there. All right, this afternoon they have dropped it back down here. All right, so they have dropped it back down again. All right, so here's your level 2. Let's say just north of Lancaster in a line through South Philadelphia and off the coast of Beach Haven. All right, from that line south. All right, you are in a level 2, 2 out of 5. All right, what that means is any one of these thunderstorms tomorrow could produce strong, damaging straight-line winds, hail, although the hail threat is very, very low, flash flooding, and a tornado. Here's a look at the tornado threat tomorrow. All right, now notice it extends all the way up into New York City, so it's almost the whole area. Now, it's just a slight threat, but it's a threat nonetheless. The more concentrated area for tornadoes is down here towards Exmoor and southern Delmarva. All right, you can see it right here. All right, that's the more concentrated area for tornadoes. But we are still under a risk here in the Philadelphia area. All right, so we're going to have to watch that. All right, that's the tornado threat. There's the straight line wind threat. Again, notice that too is also the highly concentrated areas a lot farther to the south across most of Virginia and northern North Carolina. But we are still, even in our neck of the woods, especially South Jersey and Delaware, under an elevated threat to see damaging winds. All right. Now, as we look at the hail threat is down here across Baltimore, D.C., and Richmond. We are not included in that. Okay. Then as we fast forward into Wednesday, all right, this is just what you're looking at here. This is an overall, and you can see the difference here. Ready? Here's today. You see the dark shade of green? Here's Wednesday. This is a light shade of green. And what the light shade of green means, sorry, that was my phone. What the light shade of green means is just an overall general thunderstorm threat. All right? So that's what we're dealing with here over the next couple of days. Basically what's going on, I'll use my telestrator. There is a very slow-moving area of low pressure here. All right? It's got a trailing cold front, okay? And all it's doing is pretty much doing one of these. All right? But it's moving very, very slowly. Very, very slowly. So it's able to draw all this moisture and instability north, okay, out ahead of it. So that's what it is. It's very rare, honestly, to get an area of low pressure like this, all right, during the month of July. Usually these things come into the Philadelphia area in the fall and the winter. So it's kind of rare to see an area of low pressure so organized this far south. All right, I got to tell you, it looks like this storm over Philadelphia County is really starting to peter out here. It wouldn't surprise me. Look, the severe thunderstorm warning is up still, but I've got nothing here anymore. They might just let this thing ride. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have much here anymore. It is really, really weakened, okay? But there is still the warning. Again, the warning is up until 4:30. So it's about another 12 minutes from now. They may just let this ride. In other words, they may just keep it up until it expires. But you can clearly see the returns on the radar. We barely have DBZs over 40 now. It is very, very weak. I'm going to try and read some of the latest information here. All right, looks like the one down in Georgetown. Let's go back down there. They actually reissued this warning, but they issued it for the other storm, this one here. So we got another warning, but it's for this other cell right here. Let's see what they're saying here. 60-mile-an-hour winds. All right, so for this one was actually just issued here. It's issued about 4 minutes ago. It's up until 5 p.m. And it's up for central Sussex County in Delaware and south central Kent County in Delaware. 4:14 p.m., severe thunderstorm warning. The thunderstorm that was producing severe weather was located near Ellendale or near Georgetown, moving northwest at 20. Hazardous for 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Areas impacted: Georgetown, Milford, Milton, Bridgeville, Ellendale, Greenwood, and Farmington. All right, so this is a straight-line wind threat here, and it's suggesting that the storm is actually moving this way. All right. Let's flip it over to the velocity. And you do got something here, but right here, just a touch. Very, very broad, but there's something there. All right, so, wow, there we go. So that's what, on the radar, that was out towards Philly. So that's what's kind of out to the west. Let's see. Let's go back over. Let's go back over to that cell. Again, it's really dying down, but I can feel, even where I am, I can feel the outflow boundary. It is a lot cooler where I am now. Let's go over the observations and see what the temperature is. Yeah, we're down. Look at Philly, down to 78. Washington Township down to 83. So that's what happens. If you get a thunderstorm like right in through here, it'll produce the outflow boundary. And the outflow boundary, that cool rush of air, will expand outward. And that's what's happening here. You can see it cooling the numbers down. And there's the radar right there. So right now it's raining pretty good. Looks like right around the Deptford Mall. Yeah, it looks like the Deptford Mall. Right over Boundary Road. So we're east of 295, east of the New Jersey Turnpike. If you're heading down 42, that's a fun drive coming out of Belmar. Boy, that rain's coming down pretty good right now. There it is. All right, so that's a good one. That's a good downpour right there. Right over Deptford Township. The Spartans. I believe that was their name, right? Deptford Spartans, I think. There's the movement right there. So that's what you just saw behind me. All right, so how's your day been going? Everything going good, everybody? I mean, listen, it was warmer out here today. For whatever reason, let me see if I can get the radar cam split. Yeah, for some reason I can't get browser. I don't know what happened. I guess we can use that. That'll work for now. It's not matched up perfectly. You can see some of the the buttons and everything over there on the left, but at least it's something so that you can see me and the radar at the same time. So anyway, how has your day been? I mean, up to this point, it hasn't been all that bad. We've had a couple thunderstorms popping up here, but it was pretty quiet for most of the day. Just a few. Oh, that's really, really neat. Hold on, I can see it right now. Look towards, you see where the Sour Skywatch is. Watch that line. See that line? See that line moving from, let's say, right to left or east to west? That might be the sea breeze, actually. Let me go over there. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like that might be the sea breeze. See it? See it right here? Watch. Boom. See it? That might be the sea breeze. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning. All right, this one's up by Trenton. This is Mercer County. Let's see what this one is. This guy right here near Hopewell Township. All right, getting ready to cross right over 295. It's in between Ewing Township and Pennington. All right, let's see what this one says. This is radar indicated winds of 60 miles per hour, and looks like the hail is 3/4 of an inch in diameter or less. So this one was issued. It was just issued 4:20 this afternoon. This one's up until 5. It's located over Pennington or near Trenton, moving east. And see, this is the problem, and we're going to run into this problem again tomorrow too. Do you see the movement? It's moving east at just 5 miles per hour. So, I mean, think about this for a second, right? Think about when you have rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour, and the storm is moving at 5 miles per hour. All right. That's the problem that we're going to run into tomorrow. These are going to be slow-moving storms, and they'll eventually get going later, but initially they're going to be slow-moving storms. They may train over the same areas over and over again. And what does that look like right there? Right here. See this? This is broad. This is very, very broad and nothing to worry about yet. But this is something that worries me here. Fort Dick's site is right there, okay, where I just put that X. All right, let me show you something. Here's the Fort, oh, come on. Here's the Fort Dick site right there, all right, where I put the X. Red is away from the radar site. Green is towards the radar site, all right? So that's your rotation right there. Now, it's broad. It's broad. All right, you would want to see this brightest green right on top of the brightest red. They would want to be like that. They're not. It's broad. But there is rotation here, so we're going to keep our eye on this one. Right now, it's a severe thunderstorm warning. All right, and the warning is in effect until 5 p.m. The hazard is for strong straight-line winds, potentially up to 60 miles per hour. The hail is 3/4 of an inch in diameter. All right, so at the current time, the National Weather Service in Mount Holly has 4 severe thunderstorm warnings up. One for Georgetown in Sussex County, Delaware. Another one up in Monroe County in the Poconos. We now have this one here that we're zoomed into in Mercer County. And the one for Philadelphia County, that one is still up. Again, I think they're going to let that ride. It's up for another 3 minutes, but that storm has weakened tremendously, and it didn't look like much. All right, so it looks like the areas that are going to be impacted here by this one, where we're zoomed in, Trenton, Ewing, Pennington, Washington Crossing, Lawrenceville, and Mercerville, Hamilton Square. And this includes the intersection of 295 in New Jersey between mile markers 69 and 76. It's a busy little area here, especially this time of the day. But, you know, notice that we are already starting to lose the brighter cloud tops here and the brighter returns on the radar. Notice how the purples are starting to vanish? That's a good sign, all right? And you can, the one over in Philadelphia, you know what? Forget this. This right here, I'm giving everybody the all clear for severe weather with this one right here. There's nothing there anymore. So they're just going to let that warning ride until 4:30. But, so the severe thunderstorm part of this is done. But watch the flash flooding. The flash flood warning is still up. All right. But again, all of this has really died down over the last half hour. This one here, also same thing. Notice over the last couple of frames, we go from bright purple to red. All right, so this one too is dying out, which is good. All right, the one up here, yeah, there's just nothing. There's nothing left. So what looks like is going on here, it looks like these storms are strong enough for a brief period of time to warrant a severe thunderstorm warning, but they are quickly weakening and dropping back under severe criteria. All right, that's good. Let's go over to the rainfall totals and see what they're doing there. Yeah, see, they're dropping a lot of rain. See that? And that's going to be the problem tomorrow too. Let's go in and see what some of these rainfall totals are. Look at that little bullseye there in Philly Northeast. That's 2.5 inches. In northwest Philly, we're already at 1.5 inches, and out towards Abington, 1.25 inches. We have this one here, west of Quakertown, almost 2 inches. Let's go down here. Now a lot of this was from that big thunderstorm that we had earlier this morning. Man, that was producing a lot of rain. Some areas got between 2 and 3.5 inches of rain. But this right here is from the thunderstorm down here that we're getting now. And again, it's about 1 to 2 inches of rain. Okay, so that's what's going on right now. Here's a look real quick. Doesn't look quite as menacing, right? Not quite as bad, but getting dark. I might have to bring it inside here soon. Pretty neat looking. I love watching the gust fronts come through because you get a lot of those. You see the low level clouds. If you look at my neighbor's roof there, you see those puffy clouds right above it. That's the leading edge of the gust front, and that gust front is what gives you that cool rush of air. Okay. So when that comes overhead, it's going to feel really, really good. Now, sometimes those gust fronts can be very violent. And you get winds up to 50, 60 miles per hour, and the Weather Service got to pop a warning. All right, but right now, I don't see much. And we'll go back over. So this was the thunderstorm. Yeah, the severe thunderstorm warning has been discontinued now for Philadelphia County. They still have the flash flood warning, but a lot of the heaviest rains have already subsided. Here's the rain right there, coming out of Deptford. All right, dropping south towards Washington Township. All right, crossing right over Route 55. So, and this is another thing tomorrow. These storms are going to hit during the evening commute. All right, bad timing, right? You got all those cars on the road. It's really going to slow things down. Right now, it's a slow go on Route 42 coming out of Belmar. And then right there along the New Jersey Turnpike in Deptford. And Route 55. Also in Deptford. Right, it's right around the Deptford Mall where you're just getting hammered with some heavy rain. Deptford Mall it's right here. That's the mall right there. Big, big rains. It's funny. So here's the mall. They've built all these new developments right here. Recently, too. They're not that old. They can't be more than 15 years old. And actually, I don't even think they're that old. But anyway, so if you come out of the mall, you may have just a little bit of light rain. But then let's say if you live here, it's absolutely monsoon city. Right down the street. It's funny how that works. Yeah, there's the mall right there. Zoom back out real quick so we can get a better idea. Again, here's the mall right here. I'll circle it. Give you a better idea here if the heaviest is moving over. Right now it looks like the heaviest is actually pushing south, just south of the mall, right over Cooper Street, heading into Woodbury. That's one of the streets I used to take when I had a pool, when we were living in Williamstown. I would go to Bud's Pools. That's one of the ways I would go, right there on Cooper. Right down the street from the Deptford Mall. All right, so this is not severe, but we still have that flash flood warning up for Philadelphia County from the rain that fell earlier. This is not severe, just some heavy rain at this point. And if there's nothing left... Oh, we got another one. Same thing, guys. Look at this. They're just popping up. See that? Now, I want to show you something. You see this here? All right, so we're always talking about green, red, right? Well, let me show you something. When you see this kind of green, red, here's the radar site. Oh, it's taco time. I'm going to have to go here. So here is the radar site. All right. Green is towards the radar site. Red is away from the radar site. This isn't rotation. All right. What you're seeing here, downburst winds. Okay. There's no rotation here. So you got the thunderstorm right there in the middle. All right. And the outflow boundary is just producing winds that way and producing winds that way. Again, the radar site is right here near Manchester Township. Now, if you would have rotation if this was green and this was red. But you don't. You flipped it, right? We flipped it around. So it's the other way. So this is all right here. This is all straight line wind. Okay? Let's see. Let's see what they're saying in this one here. Flip it back over to the radar. All right, so this one is saying, this one was issued at 4:32, so about 4 minutes ago. This one's up till 5:15. At 4:32, a severe thunderstorm was located near Chemung, or 20 miles east of Gloucester City. It's moving east at just 5 miles per hour, so very, very slowly, like many of these other storms are moving. All right, the main hazard here is for 60-mile-an-hour straight-line winds and penny-size hail. Damage to roofs, siding, trees, and power lines possible. Locations impacted here include Tabernacle. I just saw someone leave a comment about Tabernacle. So you're right now in an area that's under a severe thunderstorm warning. Tabernacle, Chemung, Attizian, and Medford Lakes. All right, those are the areas here where I'm sure your phone's already going off. You need to move it inside, all right? Seek shelter. All right, there it is. There's another one there. Here's the warning right here. There's Chatsworth. So it's right along. So basically, if you're traveling right now, coming out of Hamilton, and you're right along 206 in Chemung right now, just past the winery, you got a big, big downpour. Right along 206 there. We still got some purple in there too, so that's an indication of very strong winds and very heavy rain. All right, that is right on Atzian. Looks like the heaviest right here is on Atzian Road, which is this one right here. Okay, that's Atzian Road. That's where a lot of the purple is at the moment. All right. That's the velocity mode. Again, that's all straight line. Some pretty good rainfall totals here too. We do not have a flash flood warning up for this area, but that's a lot of rain that's already fallen. All right, so there's that warning there. Otherwise, let me see what else we have here. All right, so the warning up there in the Poconos was dropped. The severe thunderstorm warning in Philadelphia County, like we mentioned earlier, that was dropped. We still have this one up near Trenton, Hopewell Township. Let's go up there real quick, and obviously we have the one here in Tabernacle. Yeah, this one here in Trenton, this one's done. All right. Same thing, they're going to let this warning continue, but this one's done. We don't even have DBZs, but we have DBZs barely over 40 here. You've got a little bit of wind here. You still got a little bit of wind. I would say you have wind between 40 and 50 miles per hour. So you're under severe criteria. All right, but it's still a decent storm for now. They'll probably just let this warning, the polygon, go until it reaches its expiration time, which is 5 o'clock. All right, this one here. Looks like this one here, right now the heaviest is over Bridgeville. So let's zoom in. And Bridgeville is actually right on the cusp of this warning. So this is Route 13 All right, U.S. Highway 13 coming out of Greenwood south. So it's basically the worst of this is in between Greenwood and Bridgeville. We're down in Sussex County now in Delaware. All right, so yeah, we got to get the worst of this heater right over 206. Meanwhile, this is what it looks like here. It doesn't look quite as menacing, although if you look right about there, take a look at the house, look to the right. You can see how dark that is, right? All right, so we're still watching this. My lightning detector keeps going off too. All right, so it looks like, as far as the lightning is concerned, we have over 1,000 lightning strikes being recorded right now in our viewing area. Over 1,000. We got two clusters. One is right there. One is right there near. Wow, it's right there. It's the one that's warned right there on 206, coming out of Medford Lakes, just north of Waterford Works and Chislehurst, and it's just north and west of Atzian. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So it's just west of 206 there, east of Atco. There's an unbelievable amount of lightning strikes in that little area, in that thunderstorm. It's right over Chemung. And then the other area, there's over 8, I've just got the latest number, there's over 800 lightning strikes there alone. And then with what you're looking at there, that thunderstorm that is approaching from the west right now, that one is over the Deptford area. We don't have nearly as many, less than 100, but there's still lightning strikes nonetheless east of the airport. The other big cluster of lightning strikes is right around Fort Dix and Lakehurst, east of Browns Mills. All right, it's on Route 70. A lot of lightning strikes with that one too. And then, of course, that big thunderstorm that we have down there in Sussex County is also a huge lightning producer. All right, so there's not a lot of activity out there, but the storms. So that's the one right there near Manchester that's producing all the lightning strikes. Set it in motion. That's why there were multiple cells. Okay. Again, that one up there near Trenton is done. There's just nothing. There's hardly anything left. I'd be stunned if they didn't remove that polygon soon. There's just nothing left. It was strong. It warranted a warning. Absolutely. These are weakening. These storms are weakening so quickly. The only flash flood warning that we have up right now is the one for Philadelphia County and lower Montgomery County. All right, that one I thought I saw was up until 8 o'clock. Let's click on that. Yeah, 8 p.m. Thankfully, the rain has stopped pretty much. Just a little bit of light rain now. Let's see what this report is right here. Hail report. 1 inch in diameter. Where's that coming in from? All right, so this one is in Washington Crossing. Right there, Washington Crossing, Pennington Road. There was a report of hail about 1 inch in diameter. You can see there's just not a lot left, though. There's a look at the velocity. There's nothing there on the velocity either. So that's good. Again, this warning expires at 5 p.m. It's another 15 minutes from now. What I'm noticing is they're just kind of letting these storms go to expiration before they actually remove the polygon. But there's nothing there in the Trenton area anymore. Let's go back down to this one here near Chemung, south of Tabernacle. It looks like Tabernacle escaped the worst of this. But Chemung's getting hit good. And now this is actually drifting farther to the south. I'm wondering if it's going to try to move into Hamilton. All right, if you're in Hamilton, you look to your north. It's probably pitch black. That's a big, big cell. A lot of open farmland out here. All right, you know what? Let's do this. Tell you what, let's take a quick look. We already know what's out there. We have 3 severe thunderstorm warnings in our area. There's 4 total. National Weather Service issued one for parts of Hunterdon County, too. And I believe that is, it's either Essex or Middlesex County, one of them. All right, let's go over the model data. Let's see the new data and what it's showing here for. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be an absolute mess. An absolute mess. All right. This is 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. 9, 11, 1, 3, 5, 7. Wow. Now again, do you see? All right, when you're looking at that, do you see the Boeing segments trying to develop here? All right, that's wind. That's big, big winds.
What time does Sissy have to get off the beach?
Where is she at? What beach? She's fine. It didn't look like there was anything right away. There's 9 o'clock. This is all tomorrow, by the way. And there's 11. And then finally 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. It all goes away. So let's do this again. All right. You're waking up early for work tomorrow morning. All right. 7 o'clock in the morning. The modeling has some thunderstorms out there. All right. It didn't. If you take this for what it shows you, take it as is. It does not show severe weather in the morning, but it does show some downpours. All right. That's 9. That's 11. Let's go back. That's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Notice like today, they're developing right over the city. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 5 o'clock in the afternoon. 7 o'clock. Let's go back. There's 6. I was like, why did it skip over 6? There's 6. There's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, midnight, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. All right, so tomorrow's going to be a very busy day. Very, very busy. All right, with that, because my neck is bothering me, with that, I'm going to sign off, okay? And I'm going to get some tacos. If it gets crazy again, I will pop back on, but I think we're in good shape right now. Just a couple thunderstorms out there. What I am noticing is, the thunderstorms are producing some pretty good winds, but it's only for a brief period of time. It doesn't seem to want to last anything longer than maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so, and then the storm tends to kind of drop back down under severe criteria, which is good. You know, we don't need any wind damage because we're going to have our hands full tomorrow anyway. So, all right, with that being said, I'm going to sign off. And again, if things get crazy, I'll make sure that I sign back on, okay? I just have to remember how to do this. Here we go. All right, everybody. Take care.